Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion's challenge runs in the Binding of Isaac. Got a very simple and elegant run today. You thought I was gonna say simple and clean, didn't you, you Kingdom Hearts people out there, of which there are probably at least dozens. In any case, not to quote Tobias Funke, we are going to be basically redoing that SMB Superfan Overload run. If you didn't watch that one, I would encourage you to do so, because there is kind of an unexpected twist. If you end up taking SMB Superfan too many times, we took it once every floor to kind of balance us against the, terrors that awaited us later in the game. But every time I took it, I got a little bit slower, which was bad, and then on like the third or fourth time, I just turned completely invisible. Which didn't really work out for anybody because I couldn't move as well. Like, not only was I invisible, but at the same time I also just was incapable of moving forward or sideways or, any of the WASD directions. By the way, who do we have to talk to at Rand McNally to get, like, a computerized, like, an 8-bit pixel map of the world? And instead of, like, the compass rose being north, south, east, west, it would be, like, WASD. I would be all over that shit in like 2 seconds. I would tweet out affiliate links. It would be a goddamn pyramid scheme nightmare, but I would hang it up all over my wall. In any case, feel free to take that idea straight to Spreadshirt or something if you want to make some quick cash for more effort than I'm willing to put in. But in any case, this run is going to be Magic Mushroom every single floor. So it's basically like the same concept as SMB Superfan Overload. Except presumably this will keep our speed increasing as well, and in all likelihood we won't turn invisible. I don't know if it's gonna make our head super big or something though. I don't know. We'll see how it works, basically, by the end of this. In any case, I went through the spiel when we did the SMB Superfan run, but the basic premise of this run is to keep it as proportionally balanced as possible and see if, by only getting one all stats up per floor, can we stay strong enough to still beat the game. That's 1 HP up per floor, 1 damage up, 1 speed up, 1 tears up, etc., etc. But anyway, let's get Cheat Engine up here. Hopefully you can see everything that's going on. Add item when entering next room. We will go with Magic Mushroom. And you know what, just to speed things up here so we don't have to chance, like, it messing up the loading screen, we'll just do that. And now we will only have to check this button at the end of every single floor. So we are going to get a little bit bigger every floor, but it's not going to be as big as, like, when we did those ego runs and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that this is going to work out okay for us, and we won't accidentally put ourselves in a position where it's absolutely impossible for us to succeed. But, stranger things have happened. This is quite the tricky run here, trying to make sure I don't accidentally kill myself. And that might, yeah, it actually blew some of those bombs into enemy territory there, not to quote Wolfenstein. We cannot pick up the Ankh. I'm going to stick to the rules hard and fast this time. Ambient items still not okay, in which case, why am I even wasting a bomb to come in here and possibly get a Tears upgrade? So I guess we'll just walk out, because that was really silly of me. And since we are on Stellar 2, we should be very close to the boss room, somewhere. Now, try to get a chain reaction happening here. That should do it. We pick up some kind of pill. And I guess, again, I'm not going to take it yet. If things start to become horribly unbalanced, I guess I will start looking for ambient items kind of in the world here. They're not really ambient items, I just don't have a better name for it. An ambient item would be an item that plays some fucking Aphex Twin or something when we get bored. But that is not what this is by any stretch of the imagination. So, why don't we check out down here, and assuming we find our boss room soon enough, we'll be able to move on to the next floor. Right now I'm feeling pretty strong. I'm definitely going to take damage here, so let's just let it happen. It only did half a heart, which is not so bad. The real question is, what about this spacebar item? Like, should I be able to take a spacebar item? Maybe that is the one compromise that I will make. Is that if we come across a spacebar item, maybe in a deal with the devil or something like that, then I should be able to take it. Otherwise, we're just going like straight Vanilla Tears, and to a certain extent, Vanilla Tears might be a great name for a rap album, but is it a great name, or is it a great concept for an Isaac run? I guess that remains to be seen. This dude is fast, but we are already faster, despite only having 1 speed upgrade by way of our Magic Mushroom so far. The real pain in the ass on this fight is definitely those nubs that he creates, but we'll just take care of him first. The nubs should be soon to follow. We only got half of a red. Oh, we got a Spirit Heart as well. We got half of a red heart as well. HP upgrade that we can't take. What's up with our deal with the devil room here? Those are real tempting. Are you kidding me? Orange fire. Why you gotta be such a dick? This is the greatest boss or greatest devil room of all time, but I can't take anything here because otherwise that would kind of undermine the purpose of the run. Anyway, let's just give ourselves the Magic Mushroom first, and then we will head down to the next floor. I think it gets a little bit framey whenever Cheat Engine starts getting involved, but that's okay. We will now walk out and down to the next floor. So far, so good. We've definitely been strong enough. Apparently Magic Mushroom gives us full health, so the other kind of unexpected side effect to this run is that as long as I survive one floor, then I guess I just become, every floor is a clean start, basically, shall we say. A clean break from the floor that preceded it, with the exception of Spirit Hearts, which obviously, if I'm going to do my best, I would like to amass as many as possible. Let's come down here and blow these guys up. We're still not doing crazy damage, but I'm hoping that, you know, in 2 or 3 floors we'll be at the point where we can 1 or 2 shot those guys. 1 shot might be getting a little bit optimistic, but, you know, I can't really afford to get hemmed in positions like this. Otherwise, my crowd control is not really that good. And we are, you know, we're only 2 floors into the game, so I shouldn't get too despondent just yet. And we can compensate in other ways. You know, our range is great. Our tiers, our rate of fire is going to be amazing by the end of the game. But to a certain extent, even like the ability to have this much range is kind of a bad thing. Or sorry, not this much range, this much speed is a bad thing because I'm just going to walk into spikes probably once we get down to the depths in the Necronomicon. But, you know, we're going to have a lot of health, we're going to have a lot of everything essentially, but is it going to be enough? Who knows? Sometimes less is more, which would maybe be a great name for this run. Instead, I'll probably end up calling it something really stupid and unoriginal, like SMB Superfan Overload EX or something like that, which, you know, we're going to use like Street Fighter naming conventions or something like that. Wouldn't it be great if there was actually, you know, people say, like, naming conventions? Wouldn't it be great if there was an actual, like, naming convention, like a PAX for naming at all these booths? Like, hey, bring by your game and we'll try to name it. This looks like Jump and Shoot Man EX. I don't even know. That's probably the lamest joke I've ever done. Sometimes when I make jokes, I lose confidence. New Zealand accent needs some polishing up. What can I say? We got a bunch of pills here. We're going to take some with us, but never take them, I guess. This is almost like a Binding of Isaac experiment, like a science experiment, to see if we can, you know, just see if we get proportionally strong enough to beat the game. Obviously, our skill is a big variable here, especially when it comes to, you know, my personal skill, which is fairly inconsistent, but, to see if getting 1 stat up in every attribute per floor is enough to keep you proportionally strong enough to beat the game. That was very close. You know, I'm not saying this is a major significant anthropological work or anything like that, but it's just, you know, interesting to learn more about the game. There's as much a Binding of Isaac curation as it is a Let's Play at this point, so we're just, you know, running some variables into the system, beep will beep, and then seeing what happens. We're gonna be at full health. I would love to pick up tiers, but Magic Mushroom is, I guess, literally quantifiably better, so why don't we just leave here? We'll get another Magic Mushroom, which is beautiful for us, and then we'll uncheck this and then move onwards. So we're getting a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. Stronger than yesterday. Now I'm nothing but a heartache. I should really, if I'm going to quote the Duchess Britney Spears, I don't know if she actually has any kind of landed title like that, but if I should quote her, I should really get my quotes right. Otherwise, it's just embarrassing. My ignorance. Okay, those guys had some like air hockey shoes on or something like that, or maybe we were playing on like a greased up shuffleboard table or something like that. Greased up shuffleboard table sounds like it could be, and you know, this is gonna be gross, I hope I don't make anyone else throw up. This isn't the Super Show here, but sounds like it could be the name of a porno that takes place in an old folks home. I mean, just think about it, you know? You've got all these horny seniors together, anything could happen. I've actually heard, and this is secondhand knowledge from Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt for sure. But I've heard from, like, not nursery, that's exactly the opposite, like, nursing home workers, that it's like working in, like, a university dorm. Like, people are just boning all the time, and that is gross and also awesome. People are always like, oh, I don't want to get old, I don't want to get old. And there's, you know, real reasons why one might consider age to be a negative, especially advanced age. I'm still very much at a basic or intermediate age here, but there's also other benefits beyond just copious boning in nursing homes. Like, think about the wisdom you get, man. Yeah, you look old, and, you know, your face loses its elasticity and stuff like that, but no one cares. I mean, when you see a young person, this is, you know, perhaps going to sound a little mean at least, but when you see a young person, oftentimes your initial reaction is to judge them on their attractiveness. But you don't do that on old people. It's not like you see a 70-year-old lady and you're like, oh, she's so much more hideous than other 70-year-old ladies. No, that doesn't happen. You become judged on different things when you become older, and I think that might be really refreshing. I mean, again, there's like a Plato or a Socrates anecdote, I think, where one of his students is like, man, Socrates or Plato. Again, I'm kind of making myself look pretty unlearned by not knowing which one it is, but they're like, you're really old, that must suck because you're losing all these like pleasures of youth and stuff like that. And he's like, you nincompoop, it's great, I don't have to worry about getting boned all the time anymore. Instead I can focus on awesome things like Matlock and James Bond reruns on TBS the Superstation, Peachtree TV, whatever it's called now. So we got another magic mushroom there while I was on my crazy rant about old people boning. We are on Necropolis 1. I feel like we're proportionally actually a little bit weaker than I would like to be at this point. That was a really long kind of tangent that I went off there. Hopefully that's why people still tune into this series, though, is to hear my commentary get all manic. I don't know why. I think it's because I've been drinking so much more coffee lately, but my commentary has gotten real disjointed in a way that is perhaps a little bit positive. I don't know. It's hard to tell. We are crazy fast. I hate the fact that we're on Necropolis here. That is the biggest pain in the ass of all time. Well, not of all time, but it is a pain in the ass for damn sure. And I'm just hoping, like, my hitbox should be the same size, despite the fact that I'm super large right here, but it's becoming harder and harder to dodge, even if my hitbox is the same size, because, first off, it's harder to kind of visualize where the hitbox is on a much larger scale here, a much larger avatar, I guess I should say. But also, I'm sliding around like crazy because my speed stat is so high, and I'm not really doing that much more damage, it seems. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things that I would have to, I guess, quantify before I can really say that with any kind of authority. But at the same time, I feel like I should be mom's knifing people right now, like one-shotting them. But sadly, I am not mom's knifing. I'm maybe like mom's butter knife, mom's spooning. Mom's spoon would be a great item. I don't know what it would do. What would Mom's spoon do? Ah, that was real bad. Well, I guess it gives us a pretense to use our lover's card at least. Mom's spoon, if I was to brainstorm, that would be an item that would lower enemy speed. I don't know. Does spooning lower your speed? Maybe it decreases tears. Mom's spoon could be a tears down, because who can cry when you're being cuddled in bed, right? It's a nice feeling, probably. I wouldn't know. But, what the heck was I going to say along those lines? I don't know if you could do one that, like, lowers enemy speed in Flash, at least. You know, Edmund in his interview talked a lot about how there were limitations of Flash. That might be one of them, and that might be more trouble than it's worth to implement in the game. I'm not saying it is. Like, I have no idea whatsoever about any kind of game design or programming. I'm just the dude playing the games, so I get that question a lot. I think I've talked about this kind of ad nauseum probably at this point, but people ask me, they're like, Northernlion, if you could design any game, like, in your entire life, like, that would encapsulate what would make the best game for you. I always say, like, I would never do that. I would just take the money that I would use to design the game, and I would pay a talented programmer to design whatever game they wanted to design. And, you know, if I had more money, maybe a designer and a programmer. But, you know, I know enough about game design and game creation to know that, you know, just because I have fun playing them doesn't mean I'd be good at it. It takes more than good ideas to make good games, you know? It takes skills as well. I mean, girls only want boys who have good skills. If I could knock that guy into the blue spike, I would have been much happier. I think the problem with this run, and it's going alright so far, don't get me wrong, but the problem with this run is that there's no kind of secondary benefits that you get. Like, you know, I was just thinking, like, I don't have a cube of meat or anything. I don't have a any kind of spacebar item to hook me up, and I have no means to get a spacebar item beyond a deal with the devil, I guess, a little bit later. We're going to be fighting Bloat here. This is going to be the first real test for us. And I mean, we are doing a decent amount of damage. Now, the problem with Bloat is a fairly easy boss fight, as long as A, you get behind him, and B, he doesn't jump that much. The longer that Bloat goes without jumping, the happier you'll be. I just put a bomb there to speed things up a little bit, because this is definitely going to be the hardest fight we're going to have for a while. I know I just said that he's easy, but he's easy under certain conditions, and we are not existing in those conditions right now, because sadly this dude is jumping like crazy. But we do have him to about half health. And well, I was going to say I hadn't been hit, but now I actually have been hit. He can fire to the side, so I definitely should not stand there. And he can fire in front of him, so I definitely shouldn't stand there. I should really just learn to be a little bit more patient. Please stop doing that shot. That makes you very difficult to dodge. We back up all the way. Oh my god, you got to get behind him, but then he does his own miracle jump at the worst possible time. Again, if I can goad him into doing this, we could almost do like a much shittier version of Monstro 2. A much slower version, at the very least, of Monstro 2. Don't jump again for like 10 seconds so I can actually do some sustained damage. Well, more or less, kind of worked out there. That bomb will do it, and we will pick up this HP for sure. And then another magic mushroom. How is this going so far? Middling. To be honest with you, it's kind of making for a little bit of an unengaging run, because I'm not too invested in the items that we're getting. But now that we have red tears, I do feel a little bit better about our damage moving forwards, even though I know I've been told that the redness of your tears is not actually a good indicator of your damage. I get the feeling that it is. I also feel like my rate of fire is proportionally like exactly the same as it has been for a while, which makes me, oh my god, that was the worst damage to take. But it makes me feel like, why am I even bothering here? We're doing more damage, but we're not really putting it out at too much of a faster rate. So if I can get like a sad onion or something like that, if I could cheat my way to a sad onion, I would be very happy. But, you know, maybe we're hitting more heavy than I originally anticipated here. We picked up a dime. That dime looked incredibly tiny in comparison to our Enormous Isaac here. Enormous Isaac, doesn't that sound like a sweet, like, speed metal band or something? I don't know anything about metal, but I do know that speed metal is the genre, so I will put that out there. Again, I love that Magic Mushroom gives us, if not full health, it gives us a lot of health every floor. So that every floor is kind of like its own unique case, which again contributes to kind of the idea that this might be some kind of scientific experiment or something like that. I mean, obviously I'm glorifying me playing video games on my underwear. To call it a science experiment that belittles the work of, you know, the hundreds of thousands of scientists the world over. That being said, you know, what can I say? I do have a degree in science, despite the fact that I'm not putting it to any good use here at all. I've done labs, man. I've gendered fruit flies, or I totally avoided saying sexed fruit flies because I knew it was going to come across as wrong, but gendered just makes it sound real silly. I've done genetic experiments. No, it makes it sound more badass than it is as well, but let's move onwards here. We've got to be getting close to this boss room. Actually, we don't have to be getting close to this boss room at all. We are on the depths part 2, which is usually a smaller floor, but at the same time, it's all good, basically. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Now, if I could just keep these zombros going. I need like a cat of nine tails to fight these guys now, because my rate of fire, my rate of fire almost seems slower, to be honest with you. Maybe for all stats up, I should have gone with the Halo instead. Or maybe I should have gone one different one per floor, like Halo 1 floor. How good was Halo 1 also, right? Except for the library. Yeah, like a Halo 1 floor, Magic Mushroom 1 floor. Are there any other all stats upgrades? SMB Superfan, of course. But I don't really want to take that because the speed down might be damaging, or more trouble than it's worth at the very least. Obviously, if you're just listening, I should point out that we have reached a dead end there. Dead end, dead end, dead end. Sorry, didn't mean to totally rip off both the Pig Panther and Action 52 and the Angry Video Game Nerd. We have a Tinted Rock down here, which is probably the best part of this floor so far. Don't get hit by your... Oh, wow, that was really bad. We did get a golden chest, and again, you know, because I have so many heart containers, I can kind of afford to take some dumb damage now and then. Let's not make a habit of it, though. We can make a nun's habit of it, and then I can use my D6 exactly as often as I have. That was pretty much exactly what I wanted out of that golden chest. For once, all I wanted was red hearts, and I actually managed to get them. Do I think I have much chance of beating Isaac or Blue Baby on this run? No, I think I have borderline 0 chance of beating Blue Baby. Beating Isaac might be a possibility. The real question is, I think this is definitely one of those runs. The question was going to be, should I take items on the chest if I get there? But that should be a foregone conclusion at this point. I am going to take items on the chest if I get there, unless I all of a sudden go down to the next floor and realize that, oh, you know, the 6th Magic Mushroom is the one where it all starts to come together and do crazy damage. And I have a feeling that is probably pretty unlikely. So instead, let's just keep going as we're going here. Brain dudes, if they would die, that would make me a much happier person overall. Oh, come on. Again, this is why I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm doing that much more damage than I was as base Isaac. Like, I mean, I'm doing a little bit more, to be sure. I haven't quantified it, of course, which is apparently the word of the day today. But at the same time, I feel like I'm doing more, but it doesn't feel proportional enough to make me feel like I'm really... Like, what I'm giving up, which is like an item room in a shop and a boss item per floor, is really equivalent to that. I don't really feel that way right now. We did pick up an extra bomb there, though, so maybe that's going to turn everything around for us. And you know what? Maybe we are, and I'm just being a little bit of a spoil sport here, because 18 minutes in to be... Oh my god. To be 18 minutes in and finishing the depths is actually a pretty solid time. We don't have a whole lot of benefits beyond, you know, raw attribute upgrades, but at the same time... should make it totally possible to kill Mom fairly easily, and I really am hoping that for once we are coming close to the boss room. This has been a surprisingly large Depths Part 2. Maybe it's Curse of the Lost. I get like tunnel vision, and I can't really remember what the curses are after I see them. We do have some like fringe negatives or fringe detriments or disadvantages that I haven't talked about yet. As our head gets bigger, it kind of obscures enemies, so those brain dudes actually become substantially more deadly to me, I would say. Because after I run into them, or after I see them for the first time, I kind of have to just mentally remember where they are. Otherwise, they're gonna end up creating creep that I can't see, or just walking into me. So far so good here. Somehow I had managed to avoid taking damage until that point. I would really like Mom's foot to crush this stupid head that continues to shoot at me, but maybe, you know, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself, I guess. We're taking some damage, but again, we have such raw health that at the same time, I'm taking a lot of damage now. I was gonna say, I really doubt that we could find ourselves dying at some point realistically on this run. Remember, I mean, we don't have to worry about long-term consequences for taking damage, because Magic Mushroom, I believe, takes us back to full health every time we get it. That might be enough to carry us through this entire run, believe it or not. I mean, it might seem pessimistic about that right now, but trust me, things can change. Although, actually, I'm getting pretty close to death right now. So let's just focus on one thing at a time. And, of course, that one thing that got me going. Whatever happened to Amory, man? That was a good song. I mean, you know, most people out there probably don't like it. But I've got an unironic love for R&B, which probably doesn't overlap too much with the demographics that traditionally watch these videos. But in any case, that's neither here nor there. We've survived. We picked up a single half red heart and the Polaroid, which is our absolute necessity here. We kind of came up against it there, but at the same time, I can't really complain as we are, you know, still trucking along here. But in any case, we might have gotten the... Oh, we didn't get the pink glitch, but I did get much larger. We have Curse of the Lost, which is going to make for a larger Utero 1, but at the same time, if we manage to find the boss room, then that doesn't really matter, does it? I pretty much hate every curse except for Curse of the Labyrinth. Curse of the Labyrinth I can get behind, because sometimes it actually saves you time. It's more of a blessing than a curse, if I'm going to overuse that phrase. For once, in a literal sense. Some of these shots are happening, like, moving really strangely. And I almost, like, completely obscure the brain guys now. And I'm still taking, like, 2 shots to kill the vaginal gluttonies here, which is more than 2, actually. I think 3, which is more than I would like. I mean, 0 is more than I would like. I would love them to just die when I walked in. But, you know, within the realm of possibility, that's more than I would like. Utero 1, you know, this is where the difficulty usually eases up a little bit, because we'll probably run into a boss, you know, like Skolex or Blastocyst or something like that. The one thing I need to work on is remembering, like, which bosses only show up on alternate floors. Like, I always just equate all of the floors, basically. So, you know, in my mind, bosses that can show up on the Womb 1 are the same bosses that can show up on Utero 1. But I know that's not true, I just don't know I haven't internalized, shall we say, the exact kind of boss mechanics for them showing up. I assume it's just new bosses, like bosses that showed up in Wrath of the Lamb, only show up in the alternate floors, or primarily show up in the alternate floors. Again, this is something I should probably, I guess, check the wiki for. But I'm not going to check the wiki again, and now I feel like I have a carte blanche to avoid checking the wiki, because as Edmund McMillan said, it takes away a little bit of the magic. Not to shit on the people who make the wiki, obviously. They do good work, and they're, you know, again, archiving the Binding of Isaac, which is a super cool thing. But at the same time, I kind of like playing a little bit more, you know, fly by the seat of your pants, if you will. Now, I hate this room, and we're inevitably going to take a fuck ton of damage trying to deal with all of the nonsense this is going to throw at us. Apparently, if I just stand up against the wall, I can't be hit by these hearts, which puts me in a much more comfortable position. Although that time I definitely did get hit. Again, remember, all we got to do is survive the floor. We don't actually have to... This is the big challenge of this run, or the big benefit of this run, is almost not even the stats upgrades that I'm getting. It's the fact that every floor kind of resets everything to square one. And that's super weird. We have a pill here. Let's take it. I was hoping... I mean, now we've got a super big, weird face. We kind of look like Sloth from the Goonies. I wish we looked like a real sloth. There should be a sloth item in Rebirth. Obviously, it would be like a speed down, but maybe luck up or something like that, because, you know, the fact that sloths still exist is kind of an evolutionary lucky draw for them, I guess. The fact that they haven't been weeded out of existence. I mean, I realize that the evolutionary pressures facing a sloth to a certain extent, and I understand why they are allowed to survive from like a thermodynamic level, or like a calories in versus calories out level or something, but man, I'm getting my ass kicked on this floor. This might actually be the end of my run here, my run of not really good luck, but well, yes, good luck, let's be honest. The bombs are going to be useful, and we will get... Oh, okay, throw as many bombs as you have to succeed here. We will get a Spirit Heart at the end of this one. Oh, just don't let him snipe you. I don't even know. Did he walk over like some creep there? I don't think my tears hit him. So we have 2 shots left. We can start a chain reaction. Maybe we can get a heart out of this dude. That is a penny. That is totally worthless to us. I feel like justified to conclude that a single magic mushroom is not enough to kind of carry you from floor to floor anymore. Proportionally, maybe if your skills are better than mine, but if your skills are at my level, this makes for a fairly difficult challenge run. Just because it doesn't seem like your damage gets as good as it needs to be. I think enemies get hardier faster than like 1 damage per floor will compensate you for. Plus, again, if you're gonna do this run at home, feel free to try it the pure way first, but I would also recommend maybe allowing shops. And if you allow shops, that opens up a whole range of like possible opportunities, like picking up a Book of Revelations or, you know, compass or map that'll speed things up. It would make a difference, I think. It might not make the difference, but it'll at least make it a little bit easier, potentially. The possibility for it to be easier exists at least. But, you know, I'm kind of I'm ringing the death knell before we're even dead here, which is not good form, because this could end up being a run where I end up eating my own words, which is something that happens a lot and something that I enjoy doing, because it always makes for some kind of entertaining content when I prove to be exactly wrong about what happens in the Binding of Isaac. Please tell me this is the end of this floor, though. We've got to be getting close. This is getting absolutely insane. That was perfect timing to not get hit by these. Actually, perfect timing like twice in a row. And we managed to pick up another half red heart, which may or may not actually provide us a benefit in this situation due to the fact that enemies on the womb do double damage. Man, I remember when I did my first interview with Edmund McMillan back in like February. Oh, that's not good. Back in like February of 2012, and he dropped the bombshell. I'd already been playing Isaac forever, basically. Already been playing it for too long, at least, by most people's standards. And he dropped the bombshell on me that all enemies in the womb and Utero do, well, Utero didn't exist back then, but all enemies in the womb do double damage, and I was like, whoa, I had no idea. Just to give you an idea of how far I've come, I guess. This is going to be a very interesting fight to see if I can actually survive here. I'm trying to save some bombs for the potentiality of a Mom's Heart boss fight, but at the same time, you know, the Mom's Heart boss fight doesn't really mean anything if we don't live long enough to get there. I can't believe that bomb hit nobody. This is a really harrowing situation to find myself in. We've only got one fallen left now, and he can't have very much health left. All we gotta do is survive again, and then we get Magic Mushroom, and it's all gravy. Okay, we actually did manage to survive. I would love to pick up the Pact. That would make things beautiful, but instead, we're gonna adhere to the strict conditions of the challenge run, head down to the next floor. So far, so good. I really can't complain. Except for the fact that we came literally one hit away from dying there. But I mean, apart from that, everything's going pretty well right now. I feel like more than most people, due to my love of poutine, or poutine, I apologize. But the Canadianized pronunciation, or English Canadian pronunciation, is poutine. I mean, it sounds really gross. I mean, you should never have poo in the name of your food item, especially when there's a thick brown sauce associated with it. But anyway, due to my love of poutine, I think I understand the phrase, it's all gravy, better than most people. Imagine, like, you know, if you're American or from another place in the world, that's cool too, and I'm sure you have gravies of sorts. But imagine like a KFC gravy or something like that. Whenever you say it's all gravy, they have a nice little rich, tangy gravy, and that makes you feel better about things. Except for your physique. What am I even talking about? Anyway, let's kill these dudes. Again, I don't feel like I'm strong enough to really succeed on this floor. But, you know, Mom's Heart might be an easier boss fight than the Fallen, all things told, when push comes to shove. I don't know that for a fact. I feel like I'm getting to the height now with Magic Mushroom, where as I get larger, my shots are now sailing over enemies, and that's real bad for business. Now, I have 3 bombs. That's not enough to really do anything of value, I feel, against Mom's Heart. And again, when these shots come in, it's very difficult to dodge because my view is like completely obscured now. And every room is taking me like 4 minutes at this point. It's definitely becoming a war of attrition between me versus the troll engine. And I don't know if we ever hit like a point where this is going to change for us. I think every floor is exactly going to be a struggle, which, you know, makes this perhaps a very, very well-balanced run. I'm not 100% sure. There's probably more well-balanced runs, but this is an easy, like, this should be the litmus test for Binding of Isaac's skill. It's just taking a Magic Mushroom every single floor and then seeing how far you get. Have a race with your friends, or again, an endurance run with your friends, so you can get further. And then finally, you'll be able to figure out who the best Binding of Isaac player in your group is, because I know you guys are probably like me, just sitting around, messing around with your friends, trying to figure out who the best Isaac player is. No, Michael A.L. Fox is the best Isaac player. I shit you not, I do get comments like that from time to time. I'll give Fox Spelunky. He's a better Spelunky player than me. He's got a lot more deaths in Spelunky, but, you know, he also has substantially more successes. But when people say he's a better Binding of Isaac player than me, I take a little bit of offense. Really, it hurts Dad when you say that. Don't say that to your dad. Not that I'm your dad, probably. Mathematically, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. But, you know, by all means, if you can prove it by DNA, I will happily take the free trip to LA to go on the Maury show. And if I'm not the father, I won't do a dance. You know what I'll do? I'll do a nice little fatherly pat on your shoulder. Ooh, that actually could be really useful. Not the fatherly pat on the shoulder, although, you know, maybe if you're having a rough day, that would be a good time. But the Eternal Heart that I picked up there, I mean, I'm almost certainly going to lose it before I use it. Look at, like, how can I get this guy to walk over the rocks? That's a weird-ass glitch. Let's try something here. Let's go like this. Wow, that was probably the best, like, bomb placement and, like, problem solving on that room I've ever done in my entire life. Now, everyone just don't make a fucking move. If you move, they win, and they figure out where you are, and then tinfoil hats, and wake up, sheeple. Ah, there goes the Eternal Heart. Alright, I tried. Never forget that I tried. I was just to never forget. 4/25/2013. Mourn the loss of the Eternal Heart. He died for our sins. Well, not really. Well, kind of. It's a weird kind of parallel, I guess, in Isaac. We were going to pick up another Spirit Heart here. Thankfully, I picked that up after I took damage on that room, so it ended up not just evaporating as soon as we got it. Again, like, my damage is real weak. Kind of wish I picked up that mom's knife way back when, although maybe we would have died. Well, there goes the Spirit Heart. But again, I'm, like, proportionally exactly as strong as I need to beat these floors. I wonder if this is how they, like, tested the game at this point, because it seems remarkably balanced, but at the same time also remarkably a war of attrition and, like, super slow, which is not my kind of challenge run. I appreciate the suggestion, Mr. R1999. I believe that was your name. Does that mean you were born in 1999? That's the kind of shit that makes me feel a little bit old. I mean, no offense, obviously. Of course, there was no ill will meant on your behalf. You weren't like a fetus and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be born in 1999 so I can aggravate this fucking YouTube Let's Player in 2013. But at the same time, if you could just not do that, that would be awesome. So, back it up here. I'm still taking a lot of damage, but, you know, I don't even mind taking damage at this point because, well, now I should probably, because I am very close to death, but, well, close enough to death. I see, like, when I do diagonal shots, I find it almost impossible to hit the laser. I think it's because of the height value on my shots. I'm not 100% sure, but, you know, at least within, you know, the confidence limit of 5%. I don't know why this has become suddenly a scientific-themed Isaac run. Finally, we find our fucking boss room. Apologies for the foul language, but, it's taken us way longer than I expected. It's taken us fay longer than I expected. Sorry, I've been on Street Fighter binge recently. You dropped a penny. It never fails, like when you're on the womb and you need health, just penny drops like crazy. Let's fight Mom's Heart. This might very well be where the shit hits the fan and we end up dying here. I guess my language is, again, getting out of control bad. I apologize, Mom, if you're watching. Oh my god, I keep walking into things. It might seem like it's intentional, like I'm trying to Old Yeller this run or something. I assure you I'm not. I can't see anything. So I think that's probably the last time I'm going to do an all-stats run every floor. But I do appreciate Mr. R1999's suggestion there. It just didn't work out in a super engaging way, I feel. But in any case, continue suggesting your own challenge runs. I'll do the ones I deem most elegant, appropriate, insane, absurd, etc., etc. As always, thank you for your continued support on the Binding of Isaac series as we approach episode 500. Jesus Christ. And as always, I will see you guys next time.